Hello and welcome to another edition of Tourismus. I am Abigail Munalula and I will be telling you more about our topics, destinations and to the points segments for today. Now, let's get into topics.
Namibia offers a serene refuge for tourists looking for quiet, a vibrant cultural heritage, and a strong commitment to peace. Time stands still in this enchanting land, where the rhythms of nature and the warmth of the African sun conspire to slow down the pace of life. Space. The Namib Desert is a haven for astronomers, with some of the brightest skies on the planet. Watch the sunset over towering dunes, and then gaze up at the star-filled night sky, feeling the vastness of the universe unfold before you. Peace. Serenity in a world gone mad. From the gentle rustle of the desert grasses to the soothing sounds of the Atlantic Ocean, every moment in this country is an opportunity to unwind and reconnect with nature. Take a leisurely drive through the rolling hills of the Khomas Hoogland, or stroll drive along the peaceful shores of Etosha Pan National Park and let your worries melt away. Time. A journey through ancient landscapes. Namibia's rich history and diverse cultures are waiting to be discovered. Visit ancient rock art sites where centuries-old paintings tell stories of long-forgotten civilizations. Practical information. Best time to visit. Namibia is an all-year destination, but from May to October peak sessions for game, landscape viewing, and many other activities. November to March for mostly surfing and swimming. Accommodation, ranging from luxury lodges to budget-friendly guest houses and camping sites. Safety, safer than most African countries, but familiarize yourself with the Namibia Tourism Board safety brochure at the website www.visitnamibia.com. So why wait? Book your trip to Namibia today. www.visitnamibia.com/NA.
In a decision that has reignited global debate over the future of rhino conservation, the European Union has rejected Namibia's proposal to allow a tightly regulated trade in rhino horn. This decision comes ahead of the 20th Conference of the Parties, also known as COP20, to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. COP20 will be held in Samarkand, Uzbekistan from November 24 to December the 5th. Namibia had sought out permission to implement a controlled system that would enable the scale of rhino horn from legally obtained sources, such as natural horn growths trimmed under veterinary supervision, or horns recovered from deceased animals. In its proposal, Namibia argued that such trade could generate sustainable funding for rhino protection, while undercutting the black market that fuels poaching across southern Africa. The EU, however, maintained its long-standing opposition, citing concerns that any reopening of legal trade could stimulate demand, complicate enforcement, and increase the risk of laundering illegal horn through legal channels. The EU stated that international trade bans remain one of the few tools proven to curb poaching pressure, warning that relaxing them would send the wrong signal to consumers and traffickers alike. In a significant move to strengthen Namibia's global tourism presence, the Namibia Tourism Board, NTB, has signed an agreement with Ethiopian Airlines Group, one of Africa's largest and most successful aviation networks. The agreement was signed in Addis Ababa by NTB Chief Executive Officer Sebulon Chikalu and Ethiopian Airlines Group CEO Mesfin Tasiu. I apologize for pronunciation. It marks the beginning of a strategic partnership aimed at enhancing tourism cooperation, marketing visibility, and air connectivity between Namibia, Ethiopia, and key international markets. Under the agreement, both parties have committed to collaborate on destination marketing, traveling packages, business tourism, and media engagements. Ethiopian Airlines will promote Namibia across its global network, while NTB will feature the airline as an official partner in its campaigns and tourism events. The partnership will also introduce special travel packages, joint familiarization trips, and coordinated efforts to attract meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. The recent wildfires in Etosha National Park and across Namibia have once again highlighted a glaring weakness in the country's fire management system: the absence of effective legislation. The Namibia Agricultural Union, also known as NAU, said that while most wildfires are caused by individual negligence, Namibia lacks comprehensive fire regulations to hold perpetrators accountable. The union noted that, unlike South Africa, where wildfire laws clearly outline responsibilities and penalties, Namibia's legal framework remains fragmented. According to the NAU, this gap makes it nearly impossible to prosecute offenders, even when reckless actions cause millions in damages to grazing land, biodiversity, and rural livelihoods. The union said that for years, government has promised stronger laws. The proposed new Forestry Act and its accompanying wildfire regulations contain crucial provisions for prevention, suppression, and accountability. Yet, the draft has been stalled in government corridors with no clear timeline for approval. And now we move on to destinations.
Paparazzi Namibia Trails and Safaris. Namibia, where deserts whisper, oceans breathe, and every journey becomes a story worth telling. September is not a date, it's an invitation to feel, to wonder, to remember. Every horizon has a heartbeat. Not just places, stories, sunsets, soul. Our trails aren't on maps. They shine in starlight. You'll come for the pictures. You'll leave with a story. Journeys don't end. They awaken the soul. Come as a visitor. Leave as a storyteller.
And this destination, the first one is Swakop Spiral Path. Along Swakop's Vineta shoreline, a striking new feature has appeared on the beach. A carefully laid spiral path of beach pebbles winds inwards across the sand, drawing walkers from the paved path towards the sea. With about 10 wide turns, the design is impressively round and symmetrical, guiding visitors to its center in 2 to 3 minutes. The pebbles from the borders, while the sandy walkway carries you inward. Created quietly in recent weeks, reportedly the work of a local woman, the spiral has already become a unique point of interest for passers-by.
A spiral made of beach pebbles along Swakopmund's Vineta shoreline has become a quiet attraction, drawing walkers, joggers and curious visitors to the beach. The symmetrical design winds across the sand through nearly 10 turns before opening into a small circular space, taking a couple of minutes to walk from the entrance to the center. It was created by local artist Danielle Stern in 2022, inspired by her daughter and by similar spirals she built in France and the Netherlands. Stern said that she creates these spirals where she feels called to do so, saying it should be walked with honor, whether as a prayer or just to experience it. But the spiral story hasn't always been smooth. Stern says an unknown person, whom she calls her shadow, began changing and maintaining it alongside her. At one point, someone even placed a large cross in the middle, perhaps to bless the site. Still, Stern kept rebuilding, convinced that missing stones disturbed the spiral's energy, an energy circle going in and out. Similar designs now appear elsewhere in Namibia, including at Alzheimer Dementia Namibia, where they're used for therapeutic walking exercises. For now, the Vineta spiral remains intact, a quiet healing space that continues to intrigue and inspire.
Now, I think that is very creative and very interesting. Who would have thought that putting stones lined up like that would cause a spot to enjoy, right? That really shows you how creativity can take you a long way. Now, moving on to the next destination, which is Tshilli Farm. I love the farms, so I'm excited about this one. Tshilli Farm, located just outside Maun, Botswana, near the Okavango Delta, offers a peaceful, tranquil escape from the hustle of safari life. A boutique owner-run lodge with rustic charm. It focuses on eco-conscious living, perfect for travelers seeking a personal and immersive bush experience.
Hi, my name's Eddie Dandridge. I'm the owner and creator of the Tshilli Farm here. Tshilli Farm is a small agri-tourism business, which is unique in Botswana, one of the first and one of the only true agri-tourism properties. We've got 5 rooms. 3 of them are family rooms. We can have extra beds in them. We've got a lovely restaurant and a great bar. It's a very social place. You know, we have a lot of locals coming here as well as tourists from all over the place. We have a lovely swimming pool. The Tshilli Farm is really a lovely place, a great place to come and relax for a few days. So just take some time out from the world. We're really working hard on getting a farm-to-table restaurant going, so that, you know, the majority of our food comes from the farm. We've got pigs and chickens and ducks and rabbits. Lots of vegetables, and the fruit trees are growing and so on. It's a tough place to farm, but we're trying really hard. But it really is just the perfect place to come with your family. We're working. We do activities. We do offer activities. There's helicopter flights from here, just over there. You can leave from. We can help with Mokoro trips, and we do visits to Elephant Havens, and we've got Okavango Gin Distillery, which is just next door. We're the closest bar to the distillery, so it's a good place to come and experience the Okavango Gin. But we also offer tours to the distillery. So that also, you know, everything about the Tshilli Farm and all of what we do is in support of the community. We participate a lot with the community. So, you know, it's a feel-good place to come and visit, and it's a good spot to take a break from your lots of driving, maybe, or intense holiday, you know, with early mornings and, you know, long days and stuff. You know, the Tshilli Farm is the perfect spot to come and take a moment out, but you're not chickening out. You haven't booked into a hotel. You haven't gone to the air conditioner yet and the TV. You're still in the bush. And the rooms, all of our rooms are very open, so you still experience a bit of a camping feeling. And we do have wildlife around, although not necessarily that you're going to see, but you might hear wildlife, you might see tracks in the morning. It's a perfect place to go for a walk, it's safe. So yeah, it's a great place to take a little breather in amongst your intense journey on safari, which is not really a holiday at the end of the day.
And you do have Wi-Fi here, but you can also take a breather away from that constant mobile phone.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no cell phone connection. We do have Wi-Fi, but that's because we need it for our business really. But it's there if anybody needs it. But the couple of days out of your long trip, either before, after, or catching up on time lapses and all the rest of it, this is the perfect place to come. And we can offer a little laundry service. We can give you a space to catch up on your emails, just relax, read your book, go for a walk. Great bird watching. We have incredible bird life. So if you're into your birding, this is a great spot to come and spend a day or two birding. And then we'll go back to the restaurant. Is really good.
Yes.
So great food. You don't have to worry about that.
I heard your pizzas are incredible.
The pizzas are great. We've got a lovely wood-fired pizza oven. Tero and Muluki, our chefs, are great. And like I said, we're really working on getting as much of the food off the farm onto the table organically. So that's also important, that you understand that all the food we produce and everything here is beyond organic. It's all natural farming, regenerative agriculture. So we also research and development farm for natural farming, as well as the tourism side. So quite honestly, our farming is more of our focus if we try. But we'd love to have people come and stay and visit what we're doing and see what we're doing, and just experience something different about Botswana. It's not all about the wildlife, and you can learn a little bit about the community and the people that live here, and just have a moment to relax and enjoy.
So tell us a little bit about the Tshilli Farm. Do you make chili sauce?
So we make chili sauce. That is our next main business. And we try and grow and produce as much of the ingredients for the sauce as we can, but what we can't, we then try and buy as much as what we can from our local farmers, and beyond that we might source a few bits and pieces from outside. But we produce a range of chili sauces. Most of the produce that we take off the farm is processed in some way or the other. It's either dried herbs, essential oils, chili sauce, or other extracts and tinctures and stuff that we make from the turmeric and the rosemary and stuff. But we've working a lot around trying to figure out what plants we can grow here. Might not be necessarily food crops, but they could be medicinal, and things that aren't in conflict with our environment and with our wildlife. So it's what I term as non-conflict agriculture. So the little bit that we grow that would be desirable to the wildlife, we protect, and then the majority of what we grow, which are our cash crops, are not crops that the wildlife are interested in. So that way we don't have to deal with a lot of conflict with the wildlife, which gives us a cash crop without the fight.
Well, there you heard it. Come and visit.
My, I'm ready to go. It looks very, very beautiful. And now moving on to the point.
KTE is a custom steel and bodyworks company in Windhoek. We specialise in tourist vehicle conversions. Other products include truck and trailer conversions, game viewing vehicles. We offer excellent service and quality workmanship. Located on 9 to 11 Nickel Street, Prosperita, Windhoek. Contact 0837210100 or email us at info@ktenamibia.com.
Hi everybody, we are at Biltong and Bites today. It is the National Biltong Day tomorrow on the 9th of September, so we thought we will line up some of Namibia's top chefs, ask them for their recipe for a bite, a chili bite. So we've got a lot of bites, but only one of them are chilies. So now we want more chili bite options. So we've invited the chefs, we are very proud to have them together. They spiced, we dried, and now we have a tasting today. So we hope to identify the best bite, and then we will add it to the Biltong and Bites menu as a chef's choice. So the number one bite that we just nominated now as the best is the Smoky Joe. And that was made for us by Chef Pedro Cesar from Droombos. Well done, congratulations. I think there's a profile of customer that will be interested in each and every single one of these bites. So definitely I think it will add value to the profile and the spread and the variety of bites in the Biltong and Bite shop.
The Maritime and Underwater Cultural Heritage Impact Assessment conducted for the Namibian Ports Authority, Namport, quay extension project in Lüderitz near Shark Island. They found no human remains or remains associated with a concentration camp. We caught up with Vanessa Maitland, the maritime archaeologist who conducted the study.
My name is Vanessa Maitland. I'm a maritime archaeologist and I work on shipwrecks and maritime landscapes. So I was asked to come and look at the underwater cultural heritage around Shark Island. So it involved the shipwrecks as well as terrestrial heritage that may have found itself into the water. So first I did a desktop study of all the potential shipwrecks that could be here. Then I did a magnetometer survey, which looks for metal objects under the sea. I don't know what they are, I just know they're metal. And then we did diver searches, not only on the magnetic anomalies, but also on the shoreline along Shark Island, looking for artifacts that may have come from the concentration camp period, as well as human remains. So there's not a lot of recorded shipwrecks in Namibia because there's not a lot of people that lived along the coast to report the historical shipwrecks. So most of our information comes from the 1800s and onwards, from when people were actually living in Lüderitz. There are a lot of unrecorded and unreported shipwrecks that I believe will be found along Namibia, Namibian coast, a lot. Specifically in Lüderitz and Walvis Bay, because they were the only natural harbors that the ancient, well not the ancients, but the old seafarers would have come into looking for food, for water, and to repair their ships or get away from storms. So I think the potential for maritime archaeology in Namibia is huge. So we found quite a few shipwrecks, or 17 shipwrecks that are reported in Lüderitz. But we didn't find that there was a high likelihood that many of them would be in the area under development. Nevertheless, we undertook a magnetometer survey to look for metal objects. So shipwrecks, even wooden shipwrecks, have a lot of metal in them and they can be picked up by a magnetometer. And then we were looking for artifacts that could have been thrown off the island, like manacles or other restraints that the prisoners had. Were restrained by. So we found a few small anomalies along the eastern edge of the area, so the western edge of the island. And then we went to go and do searches. So we attached a GPS to a buoy and we dived inshore and then slowly worked our way offshore. looking to see what we could see. And we checked the 3 anomalies that we found, but we couldn't find anything there. There was silt and sand, so it may be buried underneath. The magnetometer doesn't only find the stuff on the surface of the seabed, it also sees stuff under the seabed. We didn't find any remains that were associated with the concentration camp. So while we found modern debris, found bottles, tires, cables and conduits, and some of the 2022 shipwreck, we didn't find any manacles or anything like that. Doesn't mean they're not there, but it's unlikely that they'll be found. We didn't find any human remains, and one wouldn't expect to find any. It's been 120 years of a very rough sea with a lot of creatures that clean up our ocean. So I believe that so there is a little island on the north of Shark Island that was used as a smallpox quarantine zone. So I believe that if anyway, that should be a sensitive zone, because they wouldn't have wanted to come and remove those bodies. So the birds would have fed on them and stuff, and they would have probably collapsed into the gully next to between the Shark Island and the little island. So I think that's a high sensitive area, and I think that along the entire northern side of the island should have a 20 to 30 meter buffer zone where there's no development, just to protect anything that may be there. It's archaeological best practice to leave remains in situ until such time as you have a decent research question you want to answer, or for whatever other reason you may need to excavate there. But leaving it in situ is best. The second thing is, I think that a museum should be placed on Shark Island that tells a story not just through. So there's a number of items on the island. There's an old metal pole that John Kinahan, the archaeologist, found that is probably part of the fencing. That's a very evocative artifact. They found a historical photograph of one of the inmates breaking rock, and they managed to tie that and find that spot where that was, and that they found the actual chopping marks in the rock. I think that's a very evocative artifact of the past. I think it's very important that the story of the concentration camp and the genocide be told. I don't think it should be forgotten. It's a traumatic national event that has impacted and still impacts people today. There are people that are alive today whose grandparents were victims of that. So it is still within living memory. And I think that those stories should be told, whether it's through oral presentations that could be multimedia, through images. There was a lot of photographs from the period. There's the stories. The British came and they took down first-hand accounts of it. All of those stories could be part of a museum and a place of memory, not just for Lüderitz, but for Namibia as a whole, because it's one of the sites that's still it's isolated in a way. So it hasn't been swallowed up by the cities or the towns or, other developments, and it can be kept whole as a place of memory for the entire genocide. The third thing, I think, is that all the stories so far told from either white African experience or other Africans, but all people removed from it. I think the story should be told by the people that were impacted by it. And I think a scholarship which encourages Herero and Nama kids to go to university, study history, and then write the story from the perspective of the affected people would be beneficial. So it's reclaiming ownership of the story.
So let's move on to the next topic in To the Point. Swakop office. Tourism officially opened its new Erongo Regional Office. Tourism Minister Indileni Daniel gave the keynote address. She highlighted the office's 3 core functions: top priority, park management, maintaining infrastructure to improve visitor experiences while protecting natural resources.
The Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, Indileni Daniels, inaugurated the new Erongo Regional Office today in Swakopmund, and this is what she had to say.
The ministry's headquarters in the region with 3 core functions, and I'm going to go to the functions. Park management, which include maintaining infrastructure to enhance visitors' experiences and protect natural resources. Coordinating integrated park management with stakeholders such as NAMPO and local communities. Enforcing national policies. Remember, the ministry, there are regulations, there are laws. Your duty is to make sure that these laws are adhered to. The second one, the environmental management, which includes implementing and monitoring environmental policies and also enforcing those regulations. Promoting biodiversity conservation and sustainable resource use. And that should also accompanied by our community, so that they also understand and have the same feel and have the same obligation like it's owned by the people in the ministry.
And that is it that we have for you today in all topics, destinations, and to the point segments. Until next time, goodbye.